Hello everyone, I am Onyx Studios. I am a Foundry module developer for DC20. Today I would showcase a brand new module I've been working on known as the DC20 monster generator. So without further ado, let's get into it. So first thing first, if you're going into Foundry, I'm going to showcase how to install it. So if you're in your add-on modules page, you'll actually go over to install module and of course wait for it to load up its modules. Once it does, though, then we can begin searching up the DC20 monster generator through here. So it has loaded, so we can just search up DC20 monster generator. You can see it right over here. We're going to click install, and then it's going to install it for us. This can take a little bit, but then we'll just wait for it to install, and then we'll go into our world and enable it. As you can see, we're in our world, so I'll go over to settings, go over to manage modules, and then you click on DC20 monster generator, and we're going to save our monster module settings, reloading the application, right? So that way our module can play into effect, and now we have it installed. So first things first, I want to showcase the compendium packs inside the monster generator. So if you go over to compendium packs and inside Foundry, you're going to see two in here. So you have monster generator abilities and monster generator nodes. Monster generator abilities just contains a compendium full of different monster abilities that you can use to help make your monster, or if you're looking for a specific ability, you can give it that, right? This isn't going to, the monster generator is going to automatically give you abilities, right? So there is no reason to really go through the compendium unless you're looking for a specific ability, or you're just, utilizing it for general base monsters for making your own. In here, you're also going to see monster generator notes, which is something I highly recommend checking out. So I'm going to click this, and it's going to open up this here, right? So over here, you're going to see some different stuff in here telling you how to actually open up the monster generator, the name, how to use its image, all that stuff. Basically, just a brief introduction to what everything is. Then in here, we have our monster generator table. This is basically what its base stats are going to be for its HP, PD, AD, and its damage. So if I generate a level 1 monster, it's going to give me 10 HP, 12 PD, 12 AD, and 2 damage, right, for its abilities. And then creature sizes table, this actually came because of the 0.9.5 rework to defenses. Yay. Smaller the creature is, the higher physical defense they're going to have. So, just to showcase how agile or nimble they are, how quick they are to dodge out of the way, right? But they're not going to be as tough, being able to resist the area-based effects, so they're going to be more prone to those, right? Meanwhile, the larger the creature is, the more they're gonna, be less able to dodge or be nimble or get out of the way. So they're gonna have less PD, but then they're gonna have more AD because they're tough and be able to resist those area effects, right? So all that's in there, right there. Inside here, you're also gonna see monster roll stats. So in here, you can see that we have different stats based on the monster roll. This is going to give it some little modifiers in here so that you can choose your role. It will also give it abilities based on that role as well. So all that's inputted in here and showcase exactly what they were modifying in here. And you also have a special role when it comes to summons. So if you choose a summoner role, it will generate a summon. Yeah, we will showcase that exactly, but it tells you exactly like their role is going to be Lackey, but they ignore the HP decrease. So if we go to Lackey, you can see that they have an HP decrease of -2. That is not going to be the case. So they ignore that HP decrease, right? But they do take the attribute decrease. That's about the only thing, right? Then also their HP rank is minion, meaning they have 50% less HP than the normal monster, and they only have 1 AP at level -1 and 2 AP at any level higher than level -1. Right? The summons level is -2 levels, minimum level -1 of your current monster's level. For example, if a level 1 summoner will have a level -1 summon. Same goes for level 0 or -1, but for a level 2 summoner, they will have a level 0 summon. Right. Will showcase summons. And then in here, you're also going to see your subtypes resistances. So if you're looking for a specific creature type, subtypes control their resistances, by the way. Again, these are just going to be baseline. They're not set in stone. You can adjust wherever you need to, right? But if I click on, like, oh yeah, I need to look at Dragon's resistance tables, you can find them all in here, right? Then after that, we have HP rank. So HP rank is basically how strong you want the monster to be. So if I want this thing to be a minion, then it's going to, divide that HP in half. Or if it's normal, then it's going to keep the HP normal. Elite just 1.5x's it. Boss will double it. And solo will quadruple it, meaning this monster is pretty much the only monster that's going to be on the battlefield. There won't be any other monster. So this is like for big boss, right? Like a dragon or something. In here, you're also going to have some HP rank rules. So minion, if you choose this HP rank, they will have 1 AP at level -1. If at any higher level, like them -1, like level 0, then that AP goes to 2, right? And then, of course, Elite, if you choose this HP rank, you get legendary action points at these specific levels. Boss, if you choose this HP rank, they get legendary action points, same as the Elite, and then they get boss points, okay? Then you have Solo. They actually get a little bit extra legendary action points, but not much, right? And they also get 1 to 3 boss points. So that is it for those. And then abilities. This is basically going to tell you exactly how many abilities is going to be generated from the monster. So if I generate a level 1 monster, it's going to give me 4 creature type abilities and 1 monster roll ability. Okay. And as you scroll down, you're going to see that monster creature type abilities don't scale as much as monster roll abilities. So monster roll abilities is pretty much our definition of feature power. Then, of course, you have some ability tips like adjusting the descriptions in some of them. Ranges or HP effects might need to be adjusted, or even passive effects, right? So all that's in there. And then, of course, regenerating abilities, exactly how to get that. So I will showcase all of that in today's video and everything. So first things first, let's generate our first monster. So I'm going to click on the Actors tab and then click on this Generate Monster button. And then it's going to pull up this pop-up, right? First off, I'm going to enter the creature's name. So it's going to be, let's generate a Gorgon. And then in here, I can choose its image. So as you can see here, it says if you choose an image, it will override the default type image. So, for example, the default type image is actually based on creature types. So, for example, if I go to modules and go to DC20 monster generator and go to icons, you can see I have some icons in here for the creature types. This one's for aberrations, this one's for beasts, celestials, constructs, dragons, elementals, fae, fiends, giants, humanoids, monstrosities, oozes, plants, and undead. Right? These are not set in stone, these are just the default icons if you don't choose an image, right? But we are. So I'm going to go to import data, go to icons, go to creatures, and go to mammals, and find myself a good Gorgon icon here. And I'm also going to change its size to being large, and change this guy to be a monstrosity, and look for the Gorgon creature subtype, because I know we have it, right? God, I feel like I'm missing. There we go. So there we go. I'm going to choose that. And then I'm going to keep this guy level 1. But I do want him to be a berserker. And let's make his HP rank normal. Right. Creature description. This is just going to be for the lore. If you already have some lore that you want the monster to have. Like he ran from his family. And now is terrorizing the village. Right? Or something like that. You can put that in there, and that's just pretty much our lore right there. So I'll hit generate monster, and boom, now we have a Gorgon. So inside here, you can already see it gives us some abilities. Of course, these are not set in stone. If we need to adjust, we can. But you can already see it adjusted our stats for us. He gave us the PD, AD that we need. Already gave us our monstrosities and berserker. Already changed the size for us. Gave us the creature name. Got us the image. Pretty much everything we're ever going to need, right? For this thing. On top of that, if we check our biography page, you can see that our Gorgon's description now has this in here, right? So he ran from his family, and now he's terrorizing a village, and then, of course, additional traits in here as well. Inside here, you can also see its ability summary, so this just gives you an exact of what its abilities were. Okay, you also have the regenerate abilities in there. And then, of course, we also have the monster buff / debuff table. Every single monster has this, and this actually comes from my homebrew module. So if I go to OSH monsters and go to normal, go to Onyx, and choose something like a beast, you can see that every single one of my monsters has this buff / debuff table, because if, let's say you want to run this monster for higher levels, you can by following these, right? Or if I want this monster to be used for lower levels, I can debuff him to being like a level -1, and this is exactly what this stuff is going to be, right? But we're going to do some quick little things here. So let's say I didn't really like some of these abilities, right? I will actually click on this on-demand macro for regenerate abilities. Let me post this out real quick. And then it's going to allow me to select an item to regenerate, right? So like something like amphibious, I'll select, and it gives me white cleave. Not really what I'm looking for. So I'll regenerate that again. Not really. Actually, yeah. No, I'll take that. I'll take both of these here. There's still loyalty I don't really want, so I'll remove that. Give me parry. Honestly, I don't think this guy's going to be very defensive. So I'm going to go back to parry and just select that. And they gave me icy bite. Don't really want that. So I'll select that again. Okay, sure. Let's go with the increase. That works for me. And then we can select feature like claw, reckless charge. Perfect. So that is actually really good for us. That's exactly what I needed. So I'll actually edit this because it just says damage, and I'll choose its damage type to be like piercing or slashing, but I'm going to choose piercing. So that's actually really, really useful. So regenerate abilities is actually just a really easy way for us to regenerate the abilities if we need to, if we don't want to get bothered down by looking into the compendium. But if I did want to, I'll actually go inside the monster generator abilities compendium, search out for specific abilities. Like, I do know I want to charge, right? Not just reckless charge, just charge. So I'll grab this from the Berserker and give it to this guy here, right? And now he can utilize the charge ability. All that's in here, and I think we're pretty much good to go with all of this. This is pretty much how I always think monster would be, right? And then, of course, we can delete this regenerate abilities after we're done with it and whatnot. I also do want to showcase something with regenerate abilities. The regenerate abilities doesn't just work on generated monsters, right? So, for example, let's go grab a monster from DC20 here, and let's say, for example, this wolf, right? So I'll go back to the ability, monster generated abilities, and grab the regenerate abilities here. So I'll grab that. And I definitely want this monster to have a little bit more stats, so I'll copy these two here, maybe a third one, right? And then, of course, as you can see, we have regenerate abilities in here, all ready to go, right? I also want to showcase something really cool with this macro. You may think it's a pretty big macro for it to be doing this. Nope. This is all it says. This is literally just a callback. So meaning that I defend it in my code, and if as long as you have this module installed, by just utilizing this line, you will always be able to use it, right? So, right, I didn't have to go through and actually do a whole bunch of work on that, and plus it's easier for me to do it that way. That way I can reference certain things from the actual program itself. So, right. So anyway, let's get into this. So, as you can see, I have a wolf, and he has a beast and lurker, but there is something I want to point out. First off, it will allow us to regenerate abilities because we have the role lurker, but it's not going to generate any beast abilities. The reason for this, if we go to monster generated abilities and go to creature type abilities, you can see it says beasts, right? This is something that we can do to allow it to generate beasts. But let's do that. We can generate a beast ability as well as lurker. So I'll select this, and it gave us Shadow Stealth. Pretty good. But let's say, for example, I didn't want to generate beasts. I just want to generate, let's say I want this guy to be like a hellhound. So I want like to generate Fiend's abilities, but not Lurker-based abilities. Well, that's simple. We'll just edit this role to be whatever we want it to be. We could say, oh yeah, I want this role to be Bruiser for some odd reason, because that's not on our role list. So we can actually input that. And if we click regenerate abilities, we can choose a feature like animal senses. And you can see it's now just going to give me fiend abilities here. So no matter what, I'm going to be generating feeding abilities, right? So if I go animal senses again, okay, cool, I got exposed. I don't really want exposed though, so I'll regenerate that, right? And of course, okay, cool, I got claw. Well, we already have a bio claw, don't really want that. But yep, as you can see, it gives us pretty much all the things that we're ever going to need from here. Actually, I think it's because I think I actually entered this wrong. They're giving me brute. I should have entered brute because bruiser is a role that we have. Root is not a role that we have. Whoops. So I'll redo this. But yeah, I can select this, and now we're just gonna get those. Right. I don't really want more on my saw as the ability though. Okay, sacrificial burst. That is actually really cool. So yeah, we'll do that, and then we'll just change its damage type to being fire or something. Right. So all that's in there, and yep, pretty much exactly that one. So that is pretty much it. And then if I want to be done, I can just delete that, and there we go. So by editing these roles or creature types, you can actually get specific abilities for it, or like, oh yeah, I want to mix this thing to make this monster's a little bit more themed and beast type, or maybe this monster's a brute and a sniper, right? You can edit those and do those that way as well. So that's all done in here as well. Regarding another thing inside the monster generator is summons. So I'm going to generate a lich here and choose an image for him. So we'll go to magical and we'll look for whatever image I think would work. We'll go with that. And then of course he's going to be dead. I'm going to choose lich as my thing. And we're going to make him a summoner. And let's make this guy level 3. Why not? On top of that, I'll actually make him an elite. Right? So I'll hit generate monster. And inside here, you can see it created 2 actors. It created our undead summon and our lich. So our lich here, you can already see he has all these stats already populated for us. He has certain other things too, like pack tactics or sacrifice need. This is actually going to be really good for a summon. And then we can also get our summon tough or whatnot. So all that's in there, embedded and whatnot, including summon creature type. So in here, you're also going to see we have our undead summon. This pretty much gives us exactly what we need. Pack tactics, martial advantage, all that stuff is in here as well. So that is actually very, very useful. And of course, you got your legendary action points. So if I did want to, use an ability, let's say I use Deathly Gaze, it will actually give me this enhancement, right? This is automatically applied to the legendary action points item. So if you don't want to use the monster generator at all, if you're like having issues with legendary action points or boss points, because sometimes you like add it and you're like, okay, for some reason the spend LAP instead of um, AP enhancement, I don't know how to do that. Well, we've already done that for you. So you can actually automatically use that, and I will spend a legendary action point instead of AP there, right? And then, of course, you got all the other stats all in here as needed. So that is pretty much what summons, and you can see it gave us another summoner. He is level 1. It gave us all of that. So that is correct in that statement. Then I'm going to generate another monster. Go with this guy. And let's not choose an image this time because I know I have a pretty good dragon image. So I'm going to make him Titanic. He's going to be a dragon. And he's going to be a shadow dragon, right? Let's also make him a warden. And he's going to be level 1. And his HP rank is going to be solo. I generate this monster. And now you can see we have this giant monster here with a whole bunch of resistances, right? And on top of that, you can see he also has some other things like Terrifying Roar, Jungle to give us some certain benefits here, Electric Breath, which we could of course change, which I'm going to probably call it Death Breath, let's be honest. I'm going to delete Singularity Breath is something I don't really want, but Death Breath or Umbral Breath or something. Shadow, that works. And then of course I could go find an icon in here, like something that would work for me. Probably going to go with the actual death category here. If that's something I might want or whatnot. Yeah, let's go with that. Apparently I'm dealing with lag issues there. Okay. And then of course I can change up the description. It is going to be 13 humble. And it is going to impose the hindered condition 3. So hindered 3. Right. Then we can hit save, go over to here. Okay, or give us 13 lightning, so all we have to do is adjust certain things and make sure that that's all looking good. Whatnot. Again, this just speeds up the monster making process really, really quickly. That way you can just, jump right in and get stuff done. That way you're not spending like 30 minutes to an hour making the monster or worrying about how to balance it or what kind of stats you want the monster to have. It gives you pretty much all the things you're ever going to need in here, right? So that's pretty much what the free version is looking like. The premium version, which will be on my Patreon, um, will contain a magic item generator. We will have an encounter generator as well, and to make balancing encounters a little bit easier for your players and whatnot. Inside there is also going to be a way to automatically buff and debuff a monster instead of having to, manually adjust the stats and everything. I'll have a callback macro set up where it does that all automatically. And there's some extra things like we're adding more monster abilities, more monster roll abilities. All that will be in the Patreon, which is linked in the description below. And starting now, since the launch of our monster generator, all tiers are going to be 30% off for a month. So, yeah. Anyway, there is one last thing I want to showcase. So, let's say, for example, okay, cool, these are all great abilities, it's generating, but it's not generating an ability that I particularly want. Okay, let's say, for example, let's go to Raven Quest, right? So Raven Quest has some monster abilities in here, and you can kind of see he has some really cool stuff. But let's say I go to progress, go to actions, and okay, it's not giving me giant-based weapons. I want it to give me a fire giant axe, a frost giant axe, a storm giant sword. All the these things in here, I can actually go over to where I find my monster generator. So 1 second. So if I go to modules, go to DC20 monster generator. So I have to find where my modules are located. But I find DC20 monster generator, and then I can actually go to scripts, and then I can open up the ability generator script. Okay. If you open up this is again no programming experience required to add your own abilities if you want to. But this does mean if I produce another update or something, this will be overwritten. So I recommend getting a backup or something if you do choose to do this. This is if you really want to, right? So let's say I wanted more abilities for giants, for example. So I go over to giants, which is all the way down here, or I can just do Control F. To be completely honest, I should probably just do Control F and find it. But over here you can see there's different giant-based abilities and whatnot. So if I wanted it to do, for example, okay, I want this fire giant axe. I can do this fire giant axe. I do this right here, that way I know where this ability comes from and whatnot. Then I'll hit enter. Again, then I'm opening this up through Visual Studio. Okay, right? Okay, I can do this easier. I'm going to grab the fire giant axe, copy the compendium ID. Then I can actually just do this. Actually, first I'll quotation marks, this, and then just hit tab. And then there we go. And then I can do, what was the next one that we had? No, I don't want a fire giant club. Frost giant axe. So I'll do a frost giant axe, frost giant axe. And then I can just do, for example, what I did before, where I just go to find the frost giant axe, copy this compendium ID, and then boop, and right, all done there. And then if I want a giant axe, I can. So I'll grab that, go to giant axe, grab that, and then I'll also do a storm giant sword after that. So boop, boop, got the there we go. And the same thing goes with this storm giant sword. So, and then I can do that, hit here, and just go to find the storm giant sword, copy the compendium ID, and pretty much it's simple as that. So now, when I'm going to first off hit save, file, save, or I just do Control S. But I'll save it, and then I will actually go into here and reload our page. So by reloading it, it allows me to apply the changes that we just did into the actual monster generator. And now, if I hit generate monster, and I go for giant, let's say giant, right? I can choose an image if I want to, but I'm going to. Let's choose a giant type, and let's go large for this. And let's make this guy level. That way we can ensure that we get one of the abilities. His monster role is just going to be Bruiser, and then he's going to be, let's keep normal for right now. And then boom, Giant was created. You can see here, it gave us our Fire Giant Axe, automatically adjusted some of the stuff from it. So if you're looking for specific things, you can do it from editing the code itself. It's really, really easy where you don't even need to be really good at programming for that. So that is it for my monster generator. Hopefully, hopefully this meets expectations and everything else. If there are any changes or bugs or anything you'd like to report, please let me know. You can find a link to my Discord down in the description. That is a good way to reach me right now. Or you can just hop into the VTT Discord on the Dungeon Coach server or the DC20 server, the DC20 channel in the Baylor Wiki server, or even the Foundry server in the DC20 channel to reach out to me there. But that is it for the monster generator, and hopefully you all have an amazing day, and I will be sure to keep on making modules. See ya later.